Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. The gaming industry has brought us another wonderful glimpse into the all-digital future. I feel like I need like some kind of voice filter over that, you know, really put some emphasis on it. All-digital future. So, like, in a hilarious turn of events, like, okay, let me just start here. I was gonna get out here today and talk to you guys just a little bit about PlayStation. Again, I believe it was on Friday, PlayStation had a worldwide network outage, rendering it completely impossible for people to access games, digital media, even just sign into their accounts. And I thought that was going to be the topic of discussion for today, but hilariously, just in a hysterical turn of events, as I was sitting down to go and record this, Xbox is having a major outage where people are having problems signing in and launching games and downloading games. It's like poetry, man. It just writes itself. So in case you needed any more red flags in your life regarding the all-digital future of gaming, well, Xbox and PlayStation, they have you covered on this fine Monday morning. So yeah, PlayStation, this was on July 24th, that was Friday. PlayStation Network had a major outage, took services offline for thousands of gamers worldwide, leaving them unable to sign into their accounts. It impacted the PlayStation Store, downloaded games, any games that require a PlayStation Network connection. For being the company, for being the ones who are trying to open the floodgates on getting rid of physical games, you know, they're they're doing a really rough job. They're doing a really rough job on selling me on this all-digital future. I gotta say, I just gotta be honest here with you. I had a lot of folks in the comments on my video talking about the PlayStation physical media thing, just basically telling me, well, good riddance, guy, you know, we're leaving you behind, you know, good riddance to you. We're gonna enjoy our all-digital future. It's so much more convenient. Toodaloo, ta-ta, see you later, fella. And I'm like, okay, well, hopefully this is just a little bit of a wake-up call for you. The thing is, I think a lot of these folks who are coming at me and coming at other folks who are upset about physical media disappearing, like, they're not getting the whole perspective on it. They're not necessarily like thinking about some of these things that we are in regards to game ownership and preservation and even just access and all these things in general. They're looking at the convenience of owning a digital library. You know, you can just sift through your games, click on the game you want to play, and boom, you're in. You know, you can easily switch between them. No fiddling around with discs and cartridges or like anything like that. And so like from that perspective, I do kind of understand the convenience of it. Don't get me wrong. There was a point actually just a couple months ago where I was really heavily considering just really, you know, accepting and embracing the all-digital future myself, just kind of leaning into buying more games digitally because of the convenience of not needing to have all these different, you know, box and discs and cartridges, all that kind of stuff. And this was thanks in regard to Nintendo, actually, more so than anything, because you know, they currently offer a $10 discount, basically, for people who buy their games digitally from the eShop. There's a $10 upcharge if you want to buy them physically from now on. And I was just kind of starting to feel like, you know, it is convenient to have those games on my Switch, and I don't gotta carry around a bunch of cartridges. I can just, you know, roll with the digital games that I have. Well, I'm have since kind of completely done a complete 180 on feeling that way. Now I'm like, okay, I need to get games physically whenever I'm able to. But to kind of circle back around to these people who are just like, yeah, fuck you and your dumb fuck physical games. Hopefully this is a little bit of, like, maybe not even necessarily a wake-up call. I mean, maybe a wake-up call, but at least, you know, some cold water splashed on you to show you, like, this is only going to get worse over time. I mean, like, this, not that outages happen all the time or anything like that, but like this is the kind of thing that by switching to all digital, you know, you are relying on these companies and these online services to always be functional, to have any kind of access to your games and media and just like anything that you want. I would take the slight inconvenience of needing to pop my disc out of the console and pop a new one in and be able to play my games, you know, over, like, not being able to play my games at all whatsoever. Even if the outage is only a couple hours, you know, that's still like a couple of hours of inconvenience where I'm not able to play my game. Whereas, you know, if I had a disc copy of Sonic Superstars and I had it downloaded onto my system, I can pop the disc in and then boom, there we go. I can play some Sonic while I'm waiting for the stupid network to come back online so I can play whatever else it was I wanted to play. Maybe Sonic is what I wanted to play, you know? And well, there we go. I had it right there on the disc. The hilarity of Xbox also going down just this morning here, as I'm going to record this video, it's not lost on me. I mean, Xbox over here, I think has been skewing more towards digital even longer than PlayStation has. You know, they have their Game Pass subscription service, and, well, now, with major outages, you know, again, people aren't able to access and play those games. That's the reality that kind of comes along with leaning so heavily into digital. It stinks. It just stinks. I also want to make it clear, I mean, if you are a digital game purchaser and, like, you know, you just enjoy doing that, like, good for you, happy for you. It's just these are some of the trials that are going to have to be faced from now on, you know, just going in this direction. I talked about it in my last PlayStation video as well, that, like, there is a genuine real fear that these companies, like, once things are in a digital ecosystem, once everything, you know, is completely closed off in their closed digital ecosystems, you no longer have bargaining power. You no longer have the ability to, you know, make decisions about the media that you feel you own. You really only own a license when you buy things digitally. That's how they describe it. And so they feel that they have the right to be able to take this media from you at any point in time, you know, for whatever reason, whether it's licensing issues or just because, like, you haven't signed into your account for an extended length of time. That is something that's coming up here real soon when it comes to PlayStation. And it may have already been implemented for a while. I just read a post the other day about some guy who went to log into his PS3 and sign into his PSN account, check out some of the games that, you know, he had from a decade ago, and when he went to do so, his account was completely gone. All of that stuff was wiped because he hadn't signed into it for such a long time. PlayStation just said, alright, bye-bye, you no longer own this. God, that sucks majorly. While that is one of my major concerns regarding, you know, just digital ownership in the future, you know, them being able to just Thanos snap and take all your shit away, there's maybe even a bigger concern of mine going into this kind of landscape, I guess. You already have to buy the games that you want to play, at least in the PlayStation ecosystem. You have you know, Game Pass on Xbox, but again, once things are completely closed off and you lose your bargaining power, what's stopping PlayStation from charging you a fee to access your own games, you know? Like, I can totally see them arbitrarily pulling some shit out of their ass being like, hey, if we're gonna continue to store these games digitally for you, we're gonna have to, we're gonna need a little bit of money for that, you know what I mean? This is absolutely the future that they are working towards. There was a post the other day, and I actually recorded a whole video about it before I realized that it wasn't quite what it seemed, quite what it had seemed just yet. But it was regarding Xbox. Supposedly they were having closed internal testing to run ads over your games while you play them. Apparently they're giving people access to it's games that they own, by the way, that they can stream. I don't know if it's to their Xbox consoles or maybe like other devices that allow you to stream Xbox games to them. But like, essentially, if what I read was correct, they're testing like playing an ad, like at least a 2-minute ad before you can get in and stream your game that you own, by the way. Well, you can feel like you own, but you don't really own, apparently. But you purchased it, is what I'm saying. And you'll get an hour of access to your game to stream it before they play more ads for you. And, well, that's just, that's planting the seeds right there, okay? This is like all a part of phase 1 of switching everything over to services. That's what they want out of this, because it's a reliable, consistent renewed stream of revenue that these companies get to siphon from their customers. That's pretty much what it is. I was just talking to some buddies the other day about how, you know, gaming is no longer about trying to innovate and bring in new customers based off of new, fun, and exciting ideas. No, it's all about trying to milk the customers that they already have for every last penny that they're worth. That's where we're at. Gaming as a market, I believe, has sort of plateaued in terms of just like the scope and the audience and all that kind of stuff. They've kind of reached a point now where they're at like max capacity, and so the only way that they can continue to make more money and show great numbers for their investors and all that kind of stuff is by siphoning, again, as much money out of their existing audience as they possibly can. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of problems these days when it comes to gaming and just the general modern game industry and all that fun stuff. Like, we're seeing layoffs and studio closures and just people getting burnt out and leaving the industry because, like, there's no more passion in it. That's not to say that there's none whatsoever, but, like, I think especially when it comes to AAA gaming, it's brutal out there. And the reason these games, they're not performing and they're not selling is because, like, they have no soul in them. They have no specific target audience. They're trying to reach as broad of an audience as possible. And, you know, it's just slop. Make good games. Provide good services to your customers, and they will stick around. They'll stick around and they'll spread the good word about your good games and services, which will then, in turn, naturally grow your audience and your ecosystem and the people who are interested in playing those games and checking them out. Unfortunately, that's not the reality we live in. We live in a reality where they want to get rid of physical games, switch everything over to digital, have closed ecosystems, and have major outages. Back to back. Friday was PlayStation, Monday morning it's Xbox. Oh, that all digital future. Oh boy, oh yippee skippy, I just can't wait to get on into that. Not that there's a reason to throw shots at Nintendo or anything. This is kind of out of left field, maybe a little uncalled for. But all I'm saying is, like, I don't think that they are as far behind as people want to believe. I think Nintendo wants to get there too. It's gonna take them a little longer. Physical games are still a large part of their business. It takes up, from what I understand, roughly half of their, like, total, like, game sales, which that's a little bit of a relief for me because, again, I like collecting physical games. I just like it. It's fun. I like to have the games. I like to have this physical thing that I can open up and sniff the inside of because it smells good. And ownership is good as well. On top of the whole sniffing thing. But I believe that they are also planting the seeds over there at Nintendo to eventually, like, try to get people to switch over more so to this kind of direction. I mean, we have game key cards, which are more of a compromise, to my understanding, for, like, third parties at this point. Because if they were not incorporating game key cards into their business strategy, supposedly a lot of these third-party companies just wouldn't even put, like, their games on the Switch at all whatsoever. And, well, that's not what Nintendo wants. It's a big part of their, like, key, you know, strategy, like having third-party support. Yes, largely the audience at Nintendo buys a Nintendo console for the Nintendo games, but, like, having third-party support is still very important. So that's one factor, the game key cards. But then the other side of it is having the $10 cheaper digital games on their eShop. All of these things are meant to slowly plant the seeds and slowly kind of work in the idea of moving towards this digital landscape. And, well, that's just kind of the way it is. There's a boycott planned. I don't know if it's in August or September, to basically, like, not play PlayStation or buy any digital games on PlayStation for, like, a whole week to try to send a message to PlayStation, like, hey, we don't like this, we don't want this. And, like, hey, you know, like, I think it's good. Like, stand up for your beliefs, stand up for the things that, you know, be the change that you want to see, basically, right? And so I don't mean to, like, you know, piss on this parade or anything, because I think it's a good cause. I hate to get out here and immediately like pour cold water on it. It's just, I've seen, you know, in my years of paying attention to games and things that are happening in gaming and the industry and all that kind of stuff, many instances now where people try to organize like a boycott or a walkout or whatever the case is, and it really just, it doesn't lead to change. It doesn't really lead to things. The only thing these companies listen to is money. You pretty much have to cut them off at the source. That's really it. Because, like, I mean, just in my mind, what good does it do you to, like, sign out of PlayStation for a week, not touch it, not play the games, not buy any games, only to get back on a week later and play games and buy games? Like, they're like, oh, well, you're back. All right. We got your money. I saw the same thing happen at the launch of the Switch 2. I'll never forget how there's this guy who I know, like I know him locally to me. I saw him posting on social media about how he was so fed up with Nintendo. He was fed up with how they were suing Pal World and didn't like how they were treating people and like upcharging for games, and the console was going to be so expensive and all these different things. And so I'm lined up at GameStop at the midnight release, and who do I see at the front of the line but that guy? Not only was he there to pick up the Switch 2 at launch, he came out of the store. He was one of the first ones out of the store, held it up over his head for everyone to see. You know, he was showing that thing off proudly, and it's you know how it is. I'm just saying, there's a lot of talk when it comes to like boycotts and all that kind of stuff, and not a whole lot of action a lot of the time. I think, like, you know, do whatever you want to do for you. I made my stance clear in my last video. Like, genuinely, I don't think I'm gonna pick up another PlayStation if they go through with getting rid of physical media, which I mean, it doesn't look like they're backing down. It's been a couple weeks now. They've experienced insane amounts of backlash, and well, they're sticking to their guns. They're not bowing down, which, yeah, that sucks to see, but like, this isn't just something that they've decided overnight. It's been something they've been working towards for a while now. So yeah, I mean, would I want to see change come from a PlayStation boycott or whatever? Like, sure. I think that, like, you know, these things are well-intentioned. I just don't think that, I don't think it's enough to move the needle, unfortunately. Anyway, so yeah, that's really about it for today. I just wanted to get out here and talk a little bit, just shine a big spotlight on the shortcomings here from PlayStation and Xbox, these funny little fellas and their all-digital future and their major outages. You know, it's just, oh, it goes together just, like, brilliantly. It's so funny, really. They want this, but then they're also they are showing us every possible angle for, like, why this is a bad idea, why this should not be the only way to buy games and own your games and all that kind of stuff. I'll continue to shine a spotlight on it when they mess up because, well, I think it's worth doing. Modern gaming feels like it's leaving me in the past. Maybe I'm a dinosaur, maybe I'm a fossil, maybe I'm just too set in my old ways, I don't know, but one thing's for sure, I definitely feel like I'm a square piece trying to fit into a circle hole, you know, and when it comes to modern games. So if they want to leave me in the past, okay, well, that's fine. I'll just sit back and watch the fireworks, you know? I'll sit back and watch the flames of disaster consume it all. Anyway, okay, so what do you guys think? How are you feeling? Are you feeling as iffy about all this as I am? It's just like, oy, I think it's just not good. It's not a good direction for games. It's not a good direction for the industry. It's not a good direction for customers and consumers, gamers. I feel like I'm watching my favorite hobby get completely dismantled in front of me in real time. It's a lot of little things, but a lot of little things eventually build up to the big things, you know what I mean? Anyway, leave your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.